the action is. You step back, take a breath, and process.
Yeah.
And I know that's easier said than done, but literally it will help, especially if you've done the work first thing. You know, when you do that work, it's like protecting your aura. You know, it's like putting a seal around yourself so that you can go out and deal with the world.
Yeah. Well, and that's maybe that's the key right there, is putting on your little protective shield.
Yeah. Yep.
No, you're not going to carry other people's burdens. When
Yes.
people tell you things, it's not to get mad or upset. You know, they're having a bad day.
That's
You know,
right.
I used to tell the teens, you know, my psychic teen class, that, you know, you can't change a courtroom, you can't change a classroom, you can't change, you know, any sort of, you know, a public place where there are people around you, but you can
Right.
change yourself.
That's right.
So when you vibrationally change, and you know, and you don't have to shield yourself so heavily, because people shield themselves so heavily they become, you know, very, sorry about that, they become very, you know, they become invisible, so they can't, they're in fright, and they can't move at all. So the thing is that, you know, it's not about that. It's about just being compassionate to other people, you know, saying a kind word, a smile, you know, even if they don't smile back, or even if they don't say anything back, they carry that. People carry
That's right.
they carry it, that, oh,
Yep.
somebody was nice to me.
Mm.
It doesn't matter if they are still like frowning. They carried your nice sentiment.
Yes. Well, it's energy.
Yeah.
And one can feel your energy.
Yes.
You don't have to really speak. You can feel someone's energy, and you can tell. You know, I teach a lot that it's important to really be in tune to your gut, because your gut will tell you when something is off, or when something is great, right?
Right.
So it's all energy. Everything is governed around energy.
Yes.
So, you know, you can feel a person's energy. I encourage folks to really get to know who they are. And even from I work with a lot of numerology as well, but, you know, it's really interesting when you tune into your birth date, tie it into the 7 planets, tie it into the annual, look at the seasons, look at the elements, look at all these things. And people really don't understand that all of this stuff is tied together. And when you can be in tune with that, then you really can, like I say, get in flow. You can get in flow. And that's when it's magical. Yeah. And you feel it. You know, you feel it. You can feel when you're not in flow. Sometimes maybe you don't know what the deal is, but when you come to realize what your profiles are, what your even with astrology, you know, when you know what your signs are, right? There's all these things. When you tap into it, then you can be more aware of why this is happening, why this is not happening, why this might work for you, why this might not work for you. And each one of us has a vibration that's tied into the universe. And it's predicated on when you're born. It's predicated on what time you're born. You know, there's all these things that tie into who you are and why things are the way they are, right?
Yes. Well, I'm an Eastern and Western astrologer, so.
Oh, great.
I'm into it. Deeply into it.
I knew we would get along. I did some homework on you, and I said, oh my God, she's right up my alley.
Yeah. I know. Really right away. We knew.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So now with the power of the mindset in the people that you're around, because you you travel in your world. I mean, you know, you touch a lot of lives. You can just tell by what all you do, you know. So are you doing classes right now or on that?
You know, let me tell you what I'm doing right now. I'm in the process of launching. I've done a soft launch. I have a site called Empowered Mindset, empoweredmindset.com.
Okay, empowermindset.com. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, empoweredmindset.com.
Okay, so the ED on the empowered?
Yes.
Okay, so EMPOWERED mindset, MINDSET.com, everybody. Okay.
Yep, that's it. So inside of that entity, I have a program called Being the Empowered Mindset. And the first thing you do is you take an assessment, and that assessment will spit out a report, and it will tell you who you are there's 8 profiles, and each profile is very specific to one's genius, okay? And there's all these various frequencies. There's 5 frequencies, but they mention the 4, and then that report will go out to the person who's taken it, and it'll come back to me, and then I will do a debrief with that person. And the debrief involves me talking to them about their profile and their genius. Most people look at these reports. It doesn't take more than 15, 20 minutes to take the report.
Oh my God, it sounds so much fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, and it's very interesting because it's very on point. Yeah. Like, it's spot on. And most people look at it and go, I don't understand how this thing can figure this thing out about me in 15 minutes of information. And it's just very powerful. The system was developed by Roger Hamilton, who is he's a futurist, actually, but he's got a university, and this profiling system was a combination of Eastern and Western profiling techniques. So it's a combination of the I Ching system and the Western, like the Tony Robbins type of disc, okay? So they've combined like the Eastern and Western philosophies of profiling.
Oh, I love it.
And basically, once you have done this debrief with me, then you become enlightened to what your genius is. Once you know what your genius is, you no longer have to focus on the things that you're weak on, or the things that you may have your strengths are not there. You focus on what your strengths are, and then you get in flow. Because when you're doing what you love, you know, that's where the light is. That's where the magic happens, when you can do what you love. So it was so enlightening for me when I did the profile myself, because all these years, I've been an entrepreneur for years, and all these years, I don't like the details. I don't like, you know, I don't like dealing with systems, and, you know, so I was always frustrated, thinking that how come I can't seem to get this, you know, like human resources, that type of thing, hiring people, managing people. That's just not my sweet spot. That's not my genius. And when I discovered that through this profiling system, it was so like, there was like weights came up off of me, because it's like, that's not your lane. So it's okay. But you get somebody around you that specializes, or that loves, who has that genius, and then allow them to do that. Empower them to do what they love to do, right? And so you collectively put this team together through this profiling system, and it's just incredible. So that's what I'm up to. Of course I coach on business, you know, business operations, personal stuff. I coach on everything. So, but it's all primarily it's mindset coaching. But, you know, my audience is primarily real estate professionals, because that's what I've been in that space for the last 20 years. Yes. But I have several other niches that I work with. I work with the 50 plus market. I work a lot with 50 plus boomers, and that's a whole nother element of change and transition, things that people and somebody said to me, Toni, you got to focus on the women. You got to focus on the women, the 50 plus woman, because the 50 plus woman is dealing with a lot of stuff right now as well. Everybody, we're all dealing. I mean, today we're all dealing with things. So
I think the whole world actually opened up to deal with a lot of different things.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Especially now. Yeah. Now that we're dealing with a global pandemic. Yes. We've got political stuff that's resonating. You've got social injustice, all of these things, and then and climate change, and it
kind of made everything. I think the internet, we tend to know more if you
exactly
know more. So it can make you nervous, can make you real nervous. And I think that time, like you were talking about, of having a time for meditation is really important. I have a big, long list of hypnosis meditations, and so is Jason. I own, I hypnotherapy app, which Jason isn't on yet. Jason.
Not yet.
Not yet. Anyway, but Steve G. Jones is, and Dr. Steve, and are out there on hypnotherapy, and but the thing is that the meditation, just to take some silent time, like how many minutes do you meditate in the morning? 15 minutes, 20 minutes, what 10 minutes? What do you suggest for people when they're meditating?
Well, I recommend a minimum of 20 minutes in meditation. Now, it's going to vary depending upon a person's, whether or not they have been meditating. If they haven't ever meditated and they're not, they've never been exposed to it, I would say they can start out with a 5-minute meditation just to be still. And I work with a couple of different types of meditation. Primordial sound meditation is what I typically use. And, that's just being still and allowing yourself to, you can focus on your breath, or you can work with the mantra, either one.
Yeah.
But ideally, I would say a minimum of 20 minutes twice a day, ideally. Morning and then evening. Not too late in the evening, because, it might, sometimes it tends to stimulate you. It just depends. But, and every individual.
Kind of little rest. So you get a little rest, so you get where you're at.
Yeah, exactly. So but I do highly recommend that people get into some form of meditation or me time, if you want to call it me time, before you interact with anybody. I have 3 cats, right? And they love to be with me, obviously, all the time, but even I don't even interact with my animals until I have had my space. And then, then they're probably the next ones I open up to.
I think your cats would be batting at your braid.
Yeah, they do. Do you know that they bat at this braid all the time?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So I like Transcendental Meditation as well, the 20 minutes mantra. And I think that brings you into the present, and I think that anybody can do a mantra. It doesn't necessarily have to be, a guru's mantra for you. It's just that they give you a holy one. And the thing is that, but it can be, and Jason does ohms, if you want to take 20 minutes with the ohms. It's just the centering. It's just taking, and you think of, I'm wasting time then, 20 minutes of wasting time. Well, a lot of times that 20 minutes sets you for your day. that, oh no, this is, you know, it sets kind of your center to ground you,
Absolutely.
to be able to deal with everything. And that I've noticed over the years, you know, and I've been in this business for a long time now, is that, I mean, like a long time. and the thing is I've noticed with meditation is the most compassionate, amazing souls, because it's not that they're not super busy or that they're not experts and really authorities in their field, but they have just a more centeredness and a little more patience for people.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's just an interesting thing that
yeah.
You know, they're not resonating in their own head, like going round and round about their stuff.
It absolutely makes all the difference in the world when you do your me time first thing. Yeah. It absolutely, like you said, it sets the tone for the day, for the week. I went to Egypt last year, 2019.
Oh my gosh, I would love to go. I haven't been, but you know, I love Egypt.
It was absolutely magical, and we went for a wedding. Friends and clients of mine got married, and then they wanted all their friends and family to go to Egypt and spend like a week there. So it was a week of Thanksgiving. Well, we ended up, we were on this cruise on the Nile, and we were out there for like 7 days on the Nile. And so we would go on the top of the, one night, I went up to the top of the ship, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I decided I wanted to do some meditation up there. And these kids, millennial kids, right? I call them kids. They said, Miss Toni, do you mind if we sit with you while you're doing your meditation? And I said, sure, no problem. So I just did my thing, and they just sat around me, right? Well, when we got back, we got back to LA, everybody went back into their own worlds. And just after the pandemic hit, I got a call, and one of the guys said, you know, Miss Toni, do you remember that night you did the meditation on the Nile, and we were all around you? And I said, yeah, I do. He said, that was so amazing. He said, do you mind leading us in a meditation like on a Sunday morning? And I said, wow, I was really moved by the request. And I said, sure. I'd love to do it. Well, we are now in our 10th week straight of doing this meditation Sunday mornings, 8 a.m. without fail. And I lead them through this series of prayers and mantras and decrees and just all kinds of work, right?
Do you have it on Zoom?
Yeah, we do it on Zoom. But
so you need to put out the link maybe on your Facebook page, or so other people could
join. That's a great idea. And you know, it's interesting because when they decided they wanted to do this, they said, we want it to just be the same people that were on the ship with us, you know, that little quiet, intimate group, right? So right now, it's just the people who were up on that Nile and at that moment. But and we haven't recorded it. It's just been one of those things.
Maybe that's what you should do. You should record it and then put it up on your Facebook page and make it open. So that way that you're sharing it. Because it sounds like a nice share. That sounds like a really nice share.
Beautiful every Sunday morning. And it's, you know what it does? It just sets the tone for the week. Sets the tone for the week. And then we're all like, you know, it's like we get fired up for the week. And then we share after we do our meditation. Everybody shares about how their week was and the good stuff, and somebody had challenges. I mean, we talk about it all, but it's probably about a 20-30 minute time after the meditation that we just kind of share and love on each other, you know? Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay to record like the beginning part, that process of it, but you know, sometimes people get red light fever a little bit,
Yes.
you know, when the record button is on,
Mm-hmm.
and they close up.
And they close.
And
You're
this is
right.
not a time for people to close up. It's a
Mm-mm.
time for people to open up and
That's
to release. So
right.
um, you
I
know,
agree with you.
it's like the amount that you share out there, you know,
Mhm.
some of it can be private, some of it can
Sure.
just like kind of like go into the ether
Yeah.
and not be, you know, recorded into
Yeah.
the digital realm. I do that with my classes, you know. I don't record them,
Uh-huh.
because I want the space to be sacred,
Yes.
sacred space,
Yes.
a place of sanctuary, and where, you know, people don't feel like, oh, I'm going to say something that's going to incriminate me
Right.
later, or,
Right.
you know, it's just like it's going to be out there.
It is
And
true. Yeah. It's very true. People tend to freeze up when they know that it's like when I do my debriefs, right? When I do the debrief, somebody's taken their assessment. We get in the room and do the debrief, and I do record it. And I let them know. First of all, I make sure they're comfortable with me recording it.
yeah,
And I haven't had anybody just say no, because they often want to get the recording so they can see and listen back. But it is true. People get a little weird when they know you're so in these particular sessions, we have not ever recorded it. It's just been, and maybe that's why the space has been so sacred, like you say,
Yeah.
Jason. Yeah, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful to be able to have it for, like, when I'm doing a tarot reading and all. It's like it's you know, because our memory is sometimes not able to just hold everything as far as a reading goes, and it's just like I find that people will fixate on a certain aspect,
Yeah.
and they may just gloss over other parts that may be coming into play, and so that as a means of a record of it, that's like fine. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, usually recordings and all, they can get like on my end anyway, they get destroyed, you know, so that they're not like just hanging out there
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's awesome. Awesome. So where are you guys located? What part of the world are you in?
Los Angeles.
You're in LA.
Los
Oh,
Malibu, Los Angeles. Yep.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're close.
Good. That's good to know.
Hmm. I'm
I'll
back
have to
in
come and have
now.
a session with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Great.
Very good.
Yeah.
So Toni, when you're talking about your meditation like time,
Mm-hmm.
is there a go-to for yourself as far as do you like just the quiet? Since you're a practice meditator, do you just have your own agenda that you do, or do you ever listen to like a guided meditation, or a little journey? Do you like try to take a little journey, or what is it that you
I
do?
I work with both. I work with all of them. I have, for the most part, I really love my primordial sound meditation, which is very much just me in silence. And I just allow whatever's happening around me, is happening,
Yeah.
but I'm not disturbed by it. I'm focused on a mantra, and I just stay with that mantra. Now, I do also work with Dr. Levry. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dr. Levry. Nam Yoga. It's here in LA. They're global, actually, but he has a guided meditation that's beautiful, called Divine Mind, and that's him actually speaking through these prayers and these mantras, and it's to music. It's just amazing. So I listen to that frequently.
Mhm.
I worked with a gentleman by the name of George Quant, who was a meditation instructor for years. He's no longer with us, but he had a quantum, I want to say quantum sound meditation. He actually is the one who taught me the primordial sound. He was my first meditation instructor way back in the early 90s. And there, so he has a guided meditation in his program, because he taught, that's what he did. He taught meditation all around the world. So he has a guided meditation that I like to listen to. So I really enjoy both, but I think my favorite is the primordial sound, because it's just being still and just following that mantra and just allowing. I like going deep. For me, my meditation is like a drug for me. I like to stay in meditation I could meditate for hours, because I just love being in the space.
Right.
And you know, there's times when you know, there's experiences that you have when you go deep in meditation. There's visual things that happen. There's you know, there's things that happen. You're just in the ether space, right? So it's just a beautiful feeling. It's just great. I love it. So I could literally spend 2, 3, 4 hours to start my day in that space. And sometimes I get a little cranky because I don't want to stop and go to work, if you would. I'd rather just, sometimes I just want to be in meditation for the day, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah, now I find myself too, that I'm always, when I wake up, I always put in a hypnosis of some kind, only because I'm a multitasker. I want it in deep within my brain that I'm going to create wellness, rejuvenation, you know, being able to go forward just really easily each and every day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. And working with affirmations is very powerful. And I also find that the journaling is very powerful. I do a little exercise. It's not even an exercise. It's just when let's say I get a new client, and I know that this client is looking for a specific type of a property, or they're looking to sell their property, I will write in my notes section of my iPad.
Right.
You know, by the grace of God, I will successfully identify blah blah blah. I mean, I just lay it out what it is my intention is, and inevitably it happens. And sometimes I'll write it out, and then I'll do it 10 times. I'll write it out 10 times and just read it, and then daily I'll read it, and inevitably it happens. So it's like, what you focus on, what you speak, you create. What you focus on expands. What you think, you create. You know, the power of the word is amazing. So you know, be careful for what you say. And it works both ways, you know.
Right, because you're creating your reality. People don't really get that sometimes. That's why you're meditating. We're setting our etheric body, because we are you know, we're ethereal beings. We don't like to think that because we're in human form, but we are ethereal beings. I mean, our consciousness is going to go somewhere else in time for all of us. So the thing is that, okay, so to set that ethereal mind into the body, you have to take time to, you know, kind of nurture yourself into, okay, this is, if we set our mind into a flow, into a grounding per se, and sometimes grounding, people think, oh, is that, you know, getting too earthbound in its own way, all the heaviness and all the suffering. But no, it's really about alleviating the suffering. Like, okay, take a step out of that argument. Take a step out of, take a step back from the computer. Take a step back from your phone. Take a step back from everything that you think is giving you a problem. Take a step back, because, you know, we have to get into the mindset of that life works for us. It is not against us.
That's right.
Life is a beautiful experience. And the more and more that we put it into our consciousness, the easier it is to step into our reality, because that will become our reality. My
That's
thing has
right.
always been, you know, you can walk a beautiful life. You will walk a beautiful life. Just walk
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And we were born to walk a beautiful life.
That's
You
right.
know, we were literally born to be in abundance and to be, you know, enlightened. We were born in that space. So it's all that other conditioning and stuff that we've gone through as
Right.
we're evolving is what impacts us and creates us, right?
Yeah.
So the more we can tune in to our original self, right,
Mhm.
the more powerful we can be.
That's right. And sometimes with great light comes dark. You know, like people can disappoint you. People can be so in their darkness that they can't see their own light. And
That's right.
you can only shine it for them. You can't actually do their work. So
Mm,
it's the thing is that, but you can hold somebody's hand and ethereally, you know, get them back into on track. And this is where the power, the mindset is, you know,
yeah.
it's flowing. Take some
Yeah.
me time, you know, and that's not sitting on the couch all day watching TV. Me time is
Uh,
actually doing some inner work,
oh yeah. Well,
to outer work.
and absolutely. You know what's speaking of you today especially, you got to stay away from the TV.
Yeah.
You have to stay away from the TV.
Yeah.
And it is so toxic, and it is so, and what's interesting is I found this recently with myself, because I'm trying to stay in tune to kind of like what's going on in the world, what's going on around us, because
Sure.
there's so much, right?
Yeah.
So I'm I tend to tap into CNN for a moment and see what's going on there. Well, I found myself listening to CNN in my car. Just I had it on or something. Somebody said, "Oh, turn it on," you know. And so I turned it on, and then I found myself with it on for like all the time. And every time I get in my car, it's on, right? And I'm hearing it. I finally had to cut it off. It was just disturbing, you know. It was disturbing, and I said, this is not good. This is not good for any of us.
No.
I mean, it's important to stay up to date, kind of what's happening around us, but to live in the space, it's so toxic that it's not healthy. It's
No.
literally not healthy.
No. And to
So,
where, you know, I'm
you know,
really good. You know, I haven't watched any news since 1995 or any TV programs.
wow,
Yeah.
that's
So I
great.
just decided
That's
to cut it off then. And, you know, and for me, I had, you know, Twitter, you know, the internet came. So, you know, we became
sure,
to where, you know, there's lists of headlines. And so I have
sure,
lists of headlines in, you know, what I want to read and what I want to catch up on. And of course, you know, I feel I'm very well informed, but I don't have to be mired in, I don't have to live someone else's
yeah,
creativity or someone else's life, you know, and I don't
yes,
have to, you know, can sometimes be a sabotage in your own life when you're too busy
that's
looking
right.
outside yourself, you know, living
Yeah,
like what our government is doing all the time, or what people are doing, anybody really. It's the TV
mm,
show, it's someone else's creativity. I mean, you know, it's really
yeah,
wonderful to have an outlet, but not to live it.
not
You
to
know,
live in
you're
it.
to live
That's
your
it.
personal life. And
Yeah,
so I know with COVID and everything, TV's been a big entertainment for a lot of people, and
yeah,
the news. I mean, you know, now I think the news has kind of gotten kind of way overboard. But
yeah,
you know, and I don't know if really anybody's real paid for it anymore. Remember, we used to have newspapers, and you
yeah,
know, at least the journalists were paid for their writing and stuff. To where, you know, there's just writers everywhere, and
yeah,
so we don't know what's real, what's not, what's,
right.
you know, it gets kind of convoluted everywhere. So
It's true.
it's really goes back to how to be a good human. You know,
Mm-hmm.
how are you a good human? We're compassionate to each other. Period.
Right.
Period.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So
You know,
true.
getting back to energy,
Yeah.
I don't think energy lies as far as when you make a real concentrated effort, right, to study energy.
Yes.
It's like energy doesn't lie, and when you're able to read it, I mean that's what makes like a successful intuitive counselor and
Yeah.
all, because you can see behind words, you can see behind a facade that someone will put up.
Hmm.
And so being able to tune into that so that you can see what's being said and say, no, maybe not,
Yeah.
or so that you trust yourself, you trust your own being. And it's like that meditative aspect that we're talking about too is a way of knowing who it is that we are at our core,
Yes.
and the values that we hold dear to us, so that we can embody those values. So if kindness is one of the traits that we're looking to espouse and to put in there, being honest, being creative, then these are things that we put out into the world
Yeah.
there.
Love. It's love. It's all
Love,
love.
Love.
absolutely.
Love.
Love,
Right.
community, being able to see one another's
Right.
value.
Yeah.
I want everybody to be able to find Toni. So it's empoweredmind.com if you want to take that test. It sounds fabulous.
Empowered
I want to take
mindset.
it.
Yeah.
Empowered mindset.
Empoweredmindset.com.
Right.
Yeah.
Empowered. EMPOWEREDMINDSET.com.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that's where you can find Toni. And she's on Instagram. You're on Instagram too?
I'm on Instagram as Toni Patillo.
Okay. Perfect.
Toni on the IG. Yeah.
Right. Jason?
I am Jason D. McKean. That's JASON D as in Dumbledore. McKean, MCKEAN.com.
Awesome.
And you can find, do you have any Facebook room or?
I do.
Okay, good.
Facebook, Toni Patillo.
Okay, perfect. And you can find me at tarainsight.com, TARAINSIGHT.com. But yeah, no, it's wonderful that you were on the show today, Toni.
Thank you for having me. This is it was great conversation. Love it.
Thank you. Yeah.
I love what both of you are doing. It's
Yes.
awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love this environment where we can just kind of hang out,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been a wonderful, yeah. And if you ever want to be a host on CTR, I mean, they're great. I've been here 11 years now, so.
No kidding.
I'm on. I'm here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Contact Talk Radio. You can talk to Cameron, anybody.
Okay.
But anyway, thank you for being on the show, Toni. Just really loved having you on and love
Yeah, thank you, Toni.
Thank you.
Blessings to you.
Blessings,
Yeah.
everyone.
Blessings. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Sorry about that. I couldn't be there in the beginning.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I was